events that Andrew and I organize on this online travel group. We have been organizing lots of other travel-themed events on different other groups about different subjects concerning travel. So we hope you're gonna like this event. As Andrew was saying, we're going to have a small presentation at the beginning. I'm just gonna count some about 20 cities that are really pretty, really beautiful all around the world. And they are really in a random order. It's not from the first most beautiful to the last most beautiful. It's really in a very random order. And then we are going to have a quiz and then discussions for those who want to stay with us as at the end. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for being with us. So here I just chose 22 cities that are very pretty, very nice in the world. As I said before, they are not really in random order. Some of them I visited, some of them I heard about, and some of them I just saw online. So I thought I put them here. Of course, there are lots of other cities in the world that are really beautiful to visit. We cannot talk all about them. So it's just a selection that I made in a very random way. And I tried to find some cities that are not really very well known, you know. I mean, you are not going to see Paris in this presentation, for example, you know, some less known cities that people might not think of visiting usually. So I'm gonna go over the cities, just give you a few information about them until we reach the ending of this presentation before going to the quiz. So let's go. The first city I chose for this presentation is Valletta in Malta, which is basically known to be as the administrative and commercial hub of this country. As you see, just by looking at the pictures, you see the beautiful street, the cobblestone streets, the beautiful colored buildings. It's such a beautiful city to visit. For me, I never visited Malta before. I know it's a country that I would like to visit, and I had never heard of Valletta before preparing for this presentation. And just to tell you, all of Valletta is also recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage since the year 1980. And there you are going to find buildings that date back to the 16th century. So for all history lovers, I think this is a city that is really a must visit. So this was the first city on my list. Second city I will be telling you about, and I think here, like many of you might have been there, it's Tbilisi in Georgia. I mean, if you look at the pictures, you can immediately imagine how Tbilisi is really comes out of pages of some Gothic fairy tale story, you know. You see, especially at night with all the rivers, with all the lights, with all the bridges. It's really like, for me, it's a fairy tale city. It's on my bucket list. I've always wanted to go to Georgia and to Tbilisi because there are lots of stuff you can see. There are lots of fascinating viewpoints where you can go and have some great views towards the city. You can go visit the thermal baths, you can go visit the old town, the fascinating markets, the fascinating museums. It's a city that really has so much to offer and has some really beautiful art scene also. So basically, it's really a city that in my opinion, should really be on the bucket list and one of the prettiest in the world. Moving on, also a city that I found out also while preparing for this presentation. I had never heard about it. It's called Segovia in Spain. Some of you might have been there before. Basically, it's really a city where you can spend, as far as I read, one day. You know, sometimes it's enough to really enjoy all that the city has to offer. Inside it, you have really outstanding views. You have some great mansions. And in addition to all those, it's a city that has about 50,000 inhabitants. It's very rich in history and also in culture. It's very picturesque. So for all people who really love, you know, Instagrams to take pictures for your blog, I think it's really a city that is a must visit in Spain, Segovia. Moving on, and also, we are now staying in Spain. It's a city that is about 2 hours drive from Madrid, which is named Salamanca. Basically, this city is also a UNESCO World Heritage, and I think you can know why from all the pictures. You see all the old buildings, the Gothic buildings, the cobblestone streets, the rooftops. So the city is literally a world heritage. It is very well known for the University of Salamanca, which is one of the oldest universities of the whole world. And thanks to this university, Salamanca has, let's say, lively atmosphere because of all the students that come to this university. So it has a really rich history that just needs to be discovered. It is about 2 hours from the Portuguese border, but there you can try some, as far as I read, some really delicious cuisines. And for all history and culture lovers, Salamanca is a city that is a must visit. And now, yeah, Saint Sebastian is also, I completely forgot that I put this in the slideshow. Saint Sebastian is also a city that, I mean, for me, as I live in Bordeaux in south of France, I know Saint Sebastian because it's just 2 hours from Bordeaux. I went there many times, but many people don't know about it. This is why I chose to put it. It's a small city to the north of Spain. It's a beach destination. The beaches are just amazing. You have the two mountains surrounding the beaches where you can have some amazing viewpoints towards the city, towards the beach. But more importantly is you can go there for all the nightlife. You have lots of bars, lots of pubs. It's really the lifestyle is really amazing there. And more importantly, you have these things that are called the pinch toast, if I'm pronouncing it right. You know, these on the bread, you have like some meat, some seafood, some cheese. They are very well known. There are lots of bars of these pinch toasts in Saint Sebastian. So you just go, you take your plate, you choose whichever ones you want, and you enjoy eating them. For me, it's a really amazing destination. Since I live in Bordeaux, I go there like every few months. I can go there. I just take a bus for 2 hours, and I am in Saint Sebastian. Moving on, and now we are changing continents. We are going to Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. I think also you all heard of this amazing city. I wanted to visit there a few years ago, but for some personal reasons, my trip was canceled, but it's still on my bucket list. So basically, as you know, it's the capital of Malaysia, but not only the capital, it's much more than that. It's like, it's a city, it's like a melting pot of different cultures, of different nationalities, where you can find a mixture of Malay, of Chinese, of Indian, of Thai, of people from different backgrounds and nationalities there. And this is what makes it a very rich city and makes it more and more interesting to visit. You can visit the towers that you see here in the picture, actually to the top left, that are called, I wrote it here on a piece of paper, the Petrona Towers. It's like 88 stories. You can visit the Chinatown. You can visit the Batu Caves that are very well known. There are many celebrations. It's a city that is very rich in history and in culture, and I'm sure you are going to have an amazing time if you visit it. Moving on to Taipei in Taiwan. Basically, Taipei is the capital of Taiwan, and the city is the most populous city, let's say, and it's like the center of tourism industry of the country. Even though, as far as I read, the city is very hugely underrated because people usually go to Taiwan and visit surrounding areas, visit villages and other cities, and don't really go to Taipei in itself, even though it's a city that combines, let's say, nature, culture, affordability, hospitality, and more importantly, wonderful people. And there are really many things you can do when you are in Taipei, such as you can visit the National Palace Museum, you can go hiking and also visit some ancient temples that are just really amazing. You can explore the night markets. If you see the picture to the bottom right, it seems that the night markets are something that's very well known in Taipei, that are a must visit if you ever go there. And there are lots of thermal water spas and hot springs that are also a must see. So make sure to also add Taipei to your bucket list. And now back to Europe. However, this time we are going to Germany, and we are going to talk about Cologne. Basically, Cologne is said to be like the city of the joie de vivre. I have never visited before, but I have a friend from Germany who always told me about this city, as it seems that it's a city where the people are the most cheerful and they have some really great hospitality, and they love life a lot. And it's a city where there are some great sites. You can take some great pictures. In addition to all this, there are some really amazing cathedral and historical buildings that you can visit. In addition, for fans of chocolate, I wrote it down here in front of me. It seems that there are lots of stores and shops where there are some really delicious chocolate in Cologne. Now also leaving Europe, and now we are going to Astana in Kazakhstan. I've always heard of the country. However, to be honest, I've never really researched Astana until I was preparing for this presentation. And I put the map here actually of Kazakhstan just to show you where Astana is, because I don't know for which reasons, but for some reason now Astana is called Nur Sultan. It's like they changed the name, I think in 2019, if I remember right. I read something about it. And it is described as the weirdest capital in the world by CNN for different reasons. But one of the reasons is that the country is so huge. The country of Kazakhstan is so huge. The area is, they said, like as West Europe approximately. And while you are traveling to Astana, all the surrounding areas are really empty as far as I read. So it's like you are flying, you are looking down, there's nothing beneath you until you just see a city, which is Astana, and you just land there as if it's like in the middle of nowhere approximately. It's a city that is growing a lot, that is becoming international, lots of nationalities that you can find there, and lots of things to do. It has so much to offer concerning museums, concerning life, concerning culture and history. And I think it's because there are some countries that are not really, people don't really think of visiting them, but I think these are the countries you can find really amazing things to discover and meet different types of cultures and backgrounds. Moving on, this is for me one of the weirdest cities when I was preparing for this presentation. It's called Ashgabat, if I'm pronouncing it right, in Turkmenistan. Basically, it might be, as far as I read, I wrote it down here on a piece of paper, might be one of the strangest capitals anywhere in the world. So as far as I read, when you go there, it's like you will feel as if it's like a mixture between Dubai and also between Pyongyang in North Korea. Many people say that this city has a lack of soul, because when you go there, as far as I read, you don't really see people walking around, especially that also Turkmenistan is known to be as the country with the least visitors in the world. It is said that there are about only 10,000 foreign tourists every year. Why is that? Because it seems that this country is the most difficult country to get a visa in order to visit. But in case you go and visit, what you will see, as you see in the pictures, the top right to the top left, you are going to see some large, weird, and strange monuments. Most of them are made of white marble. Some people also refer to Ashgabat as the city of the dead, because the only things you are going to find there are really the people who are, who work in cleaning the streets. So all you have to do is really to go for a walk. And it seems that like the president or the government of this area, of this country, have this idea in mind that they always want to be #1 in the Guinness World Record. So this is why all these statues, all these weird and strange monuments are being built. So, but I think it's a city, one of the weird, strange city, beautiful ones that has to be explored and know more about it. This is why I put it here in this presentation. And now we are coming to France and to Carcassonne. Perhaps you have heard of it. I haven't been there, even though it's not very far from Bordeaux. Basically, Carcassonne is like 95 kilometers south of Toulouse, which is south of France. And it was designated a UNESCO World Heritage back in 1997. If you look at it, it's a really impressive city. It's an old city, it's like a medieval city. You have the walls all around it because it was a fortified city in the past. You can visit the medieval palace, and more importantly, what you can do when you are there is visit the vineyards, visit the castle, the medieval city, and if you want to enjoy your time, if you like to go for a bike ride, you can go do a bike ride along the Canal du Midi, which is the one you see in the picture in the middle here in the center. There are lots of bike lanes that can even reach Toulouse, and I'm sure there's a way also to reach Bordeaux, because I know all over France there are bike lanes that connect all the cities together. So Carcassonne is also a city that is a must visit. And now we are going back to Malta, And this is a small village that I thought of putting here. I found out about it while researching, because whenever I travel, I love to search for hidden places. You know, the not very well known places, and this is one of them. It's the Popeye village in Malta. I think many of you know the movie, the 80s movie Popeye. So basically, it seems that the village was abandoned after it was the set for the movie actually. But there are also the inhabitants that are still there. And if you are ever passing by the area, make sure to visit this village, enjoy the colors, enjoy the water. So it's very colorful, as you see here. And what you can do, there is a museum, you can visit museum, you can talk with people, you can go fishing. So what you can do is really just spend the day with locals there, just to see how they spend their day, to eat some local cuisines, to really feel as if you are a traveler more than a tourist, if you want to say. So this is a village that I'm sure to be adding to my bucket list whenever I go to Malta. And now moving on to Hallstatt, in a village in Austria. I haven't been there, but I think all of you might know about it, because on Facebook you cannot pass 1 week without seeing someone posting a picture either on Instagram or on Facebook from Hallstatt, because it's just a fairy tale village, as you see, especially at night. When you look at the picture to the top right, it is said to be Austria's oldest and perhaps most photographed village. Inside it, you can find a museum with about 7,000 artifacts that tell the history of the village, but also the history of a bit of the history of the country of Austria. In addition to this, you can find beautiful old churches, and more importantly is the lake. As you see, it's like a mirror lake where you have the beautiful reflection of the amazing village, especially at night when the whole village is lit. So basically, it's a very small city or village, but it has a very huge reputation. And as far as my friends told me, you can consider spending there a night or two is enough to really discover and enjoy it. Now, are leaving Europe again and going to Vietnam and to a place called Qua Van. Basically, Qua Van, it's a very, as you see in the pictures, that say charming and enchanting village that is one of the most known, let's say, fishing villages in the area. It's a very popular spot. There, as you see in the pictures, you are going to see lots of beautiful exotic marine lives, lots of beautiful sceneries, and also in addition to caves and also grottos. So if you are into exploration, I think here you are going to be very well served. There's beauty all around you. You can go fishing with locals. You can try traditional cuisine, local cuisine, and also, more importantly, as you see in the pictures to the right, the traditional houses alongside the river that are just amazing. And now moving to Norway. So this village, I chose to put it in this presentation because I remember we talked about it in one of the presentations with Andra, one of our travel presentations in the past. I researched it a bit more. Norway has always been on a bucket list. So basically, this village is called Ren. Ren as in queen in French. I don't know why it has this name, if it has a history with some queen. But anyway, it has a population of only about 300 villagers. In a way, when you look at the water, it reminds me a bit of also of Hallstatt with the reflection, you know, the water reflection, especially at night when the village is it's completely lit. It has some beautiful sceneries all around it. And there, what you can do is just go spend a beautiful day, a village day. You can go whale watching, you can go fishing like locals, you can go biking. There are lots of bike lanes that are really amazing. And one of the beautiful things you can do if you go in winter, I think towards January, December, you can also watch the stunning northern lights that I think many of us would like to go to Norway or to Denmark, or, you know, to these north countries just to watch the northern lights. So in Ren, you can do just this and also live as a local for a day or two. And moving on now, this is a village. I found out it's in Iran. It's called Palangan village, if I'm pronouncing it right. So you have this huge valley, as you see in the picture to the bottom left, and you have all the houses going on, built on the mountain. Actually, it has a population of approximately a thousand people, and it is very old, rural, ancient village. Let's say. It has some spectacular views all around it. You can go there if you are visiting the area. You can go there just for a day in order to walk around the streets, to get lost a little bit, to see the history, to see the people, how they live. So all you can do is really just to enjoy the village life in a bit, walk around the street, and also it seems that they are known for the fish. You can try some fish when you are there. And if you are into hiking, I mean, you see all the beautiful sceneries all around. I think you are going to enjoy nature all around this village. And now we are going to Romania, to the city of Sibiu, or Sibiu anyway. So basically, it's located in Romania's in Transylvania region in Romania. It is said to be one of the most favorite places for visitors who come to Romania. I haven't been there, but looking at the pictures, it seems to be like a very amazing and like a kind of a medieval city to visit. So what's beautiful about it are the old buildings, the cobblestone streets, the history. It is very rich in history and also in culture. There is like a huge, there's like a big cathedral with a very high clock tower, and it is said that from there, if you go to the clock tower, you can have a stunning view towards the whole city, as you see in the picture to the top right. It is said that it was built, I'm not sure about the history a lot, but as far as I read, built by Germans, something like this. So this is why when you go there, you are going to have like you feel some German architecture, because it has a history connected to Germany for about 800 years approximately. So also a city to add to your bucket list whenever you visit Romania. And now we are going after Romania to India. And in India, I chose to tell you about Jaipur. We also had this in a quiz we did a few weeks ago. So this is why I chose to talk about it. So basically, Jaipur is known as the pink city also in India, because many of the buildings and the huge landmarks, as you see in the picture to the right, to the bottom right, are in pink. So it's either Jaipur or either the pink city, and it is said to be one of the best places to visit in India. And also, like, the hotels there are usually expensive, even though you can find really good price hotels. But because it's a very good touristic attraction, you can find some really expensive prices for hotels. And it is cities that has so much to offer, many palaces to visit, and just by looking at the houses, wandering all around them, I think it's a really great adventure. And now we are approaching the end of the presentation. Here I chose to go to take you to Peru, and more precisely to Lima. Many people visit Peru. We always hear of Machu Picchu, for example, but I think Lima, there are less people who talk about it. As far as I read, and as far as I have friends in Latin America who told me about it, it seems to be one of the best cities to visit in South America. So it's up to you, and it seems that it's a city that is filled with contrast. So there are either you love it, either you don't love it. It's like a contrast. It's after all, after everything is subjective in every city. So basically, it is located between the Andes Mountains and the Pacific Coast, and has lots to offer concerning viewpoints, concerning history, and this is where you can experiment. If you are into cuisine, if you are a foodie person, some really great local Peruvian cuisine. So it's a city that has so much to offer, and I think you must visit if you are ever in Peru. Now I have two more cities to tell you about. The first one, it's Essaouira in Morocco. I have lots of friends from Morocco who always told me about this city, so I thought I'd put it here. As you see, It's very well known for the blue colors. You see the boats in blue. You see the doors that are also in blue. The markets. So it kind of reminds me a bit of the islands in Greece in a way. So it was a fortified city in the past, back in the 18th century. And it is very well known for its long miles of stunning beaches, a charming harbor, and also the fish market. So I think it's one of the most beautiful towns to visit if you are in Morocco. And now I'm gonna go to the last city on my list today, which is Kyoto in Japan. Basically, Kyoto in Japan, as you see in the pictures, it's really amazing. It has some fascinating Zen gardens where you can just go for a walk. There are some mysterious Buddhist temples where you can go visit, find out the history all about them. There are lots of colors, as you see, especially in the big picture here. It's a very colorful city, and there are lots of colorful shrines, in addition to lots of history and culture, and the small streets where you can wander around. It is said that Kyoto is Japan in a nutshell. So if you go to Kyoto, you are going to visit, in a way, the small country, as a small Japan in a way. It's a very amazing city to add to your bucket list. So these were the 22 cities that I chose to talk to you about in my presentation today. As I told you, they were chosen randomly. Of course, there are lots of amazing also cities all around the world, but these were the ones that I chose. And before ending, I want to tell you about something that actually it's Andra who discovered it. We chose to put it in this presentation. And I wrote it here. It seems, I don't know if you've heard of the old Google Maps. I'm going to show you a video about them, but it's what you see in the screenshots here. Basically, it's something called the Brown and Huggenberg, which is like volumes that were made hundreds of years ago. It's like where you have the maps of major cities all around the world. So just like now we go on Google Maps to see all the maps, people used to buy these books that were made there were 5 volumes of them, where you have the maps of all of the major cities of the world. It's like the ancient Google Maps. Very interesting information. I'm gonna be showing you the video about it, and then we'll end this presentation. I will go to the quiz. 1 second, let me just find the link. Give me a sec. So the link was somewhere here. I'm going to put on full screen, and let's go.
Made between 1596 and 1599, the Town Books is the first ever city atlas, the 16th century equivalent of Google Maps. Edited by George Braun and largely engraved by Franz Hogenberg, the first ever city atlas comprises 5 volumes with 300 maps of primarily European cities, but also some African, Middle Eastern and Indian towns, as well as Mexico in the New World. This view of Constantinople looks north, with Europe on the left and Asia on the right. The river Bosphorus leads to the Black Sea and is highlighted in silver, a design feature characteristic of a very wealthy owner. The map shows the Roman-era Hippodrome of Constantinople, when it was a place for chariot racing and other entertainment. In the front is the royal palace, and beside it on the left is the Greek Orthodox Cathedral, nowadays the site of a museum. Venice is represented by dramatic scenes of the day. On the right, the fire of Doge's palace in 1577, which destroyed many great works of art. On the left, groups of fashionable ladies sporting the horned hairstyle popular in the late 16th century. Blonde hair was considered most beautiful at the time, and Venetian women would bleach their hair in the sun with a concoction of lemon juice and urine. Mexico City on the left and Cusco on the right are among the earliest depictions of New World cities. In Mexico City, we see the Palace of Moctezuma II in the central square, and the Templo Maya, a place where human sacrifice was performed to appease the gods. Cusco is presented as a European city, in orderly rows. In the front is the Incan king in a palanquin carried by his servants. The Braun and Hogenberg is the most famous of the early town atlases, which became extremely popular with armchair travellers. The colours remain vibrant and extremely well preserved, and the extensive use of gold and silver make this a very special copy. It is one of the greatest accomplishments in the history of cartography.
So this was it for the information, because it's really interesting, you know, that it's like old Google Maps, and it's estimated to 100,000 pounds approximately. Anyway, sorry. So I'm gonna stop my screen sharing. This was my presentation for today, and I